When my husband Mark and I were doctors in the medical system, we were faced with an onslaught of unwell people. We could help some of the acute cases, but on a wider front, our interventions were generally futile. A major problem back then was not knowing what really made people ill in the first place. The fatal flaw in allopathic medicine is the focus on suppressing symptoms instead of identifying and reversing the underlying causes. And when people remain sick despite all the interventions, the system invents a cover story. In the present era, one of the biggest cover stories is viruses, and the public have been led to believe they are a constant menace to humanity. However, there's a problem. The entire virus model has been eviscerated and relegated to an unproven hypothesis. While that may be so, one of the sticking points for many people is, but if it's not a virus, what made me sick? In this video, I'll go through 40 things that actually affect your well-being. Rather than imaginary viruses, these factors are real, can be targeted, and must be addressed in order to achieve optimal health. Almost all of us have been lulled into the virus story at some stage of our lives. When we have a spotty rash as a child, or fever and aches when we are older, it's blamed on a virus. When a toddler gets sick in daycare, it's declared that a virus must be going around. When a friend develops a so-called autoimmune disease, a hidden virus is implicated. And when a family member suffers from chronic fatigue, it's suggested they have a post-viral syndrome. It's tempting to think that some contagious entity could be responsible for all of these things, but the virus model is a false paradigm. In fact, it's a dangerous belief system that leads people to neglect why their health becomes compromised. So, for anyone asking, if it's not a virus, what's making me sick then? Here are 40 reasons that should be carefully considered. Maybe it's because you aren't getting enough sleep. Maybe it's because of relentless fear propaganda, including fear propaganda about alleged viruses. Maybe it's because you are eating too much. Maybe it's because you are not doing enough exercise. Maybe it's because your diet consists of highly processed, nutritionally bankrupt foods. Maybe it's because your spotless fruit and vegetables have been sprayed with chemicals. Maybe it's because your water source is poor or contains chemicals like fluoride, chlorine, and nitrites. Maybe it's because of synthetic additives and colourings in your food. Maybe it's because you ate a natural food, but it was no longer fresh. Maybe it's because you are consuming processed and pasteurized milk rather than the real stuff. Maybe it's because you are drinking too much alcohol. Maybe it's because you are drinking beverages laced with artificial sweeteners. Maybe it's because you are dehydrated. Maybe it's because you are not getting enough sunlight. Maybe it's because you are not grounding. Maybe it's because the seasons are changing and humidity has increased. Maybe it's because your home is too cold or contains excessive mold. Maybe it's because your house is made of materials that leach chemicals. Maybe it's because of a pharmaceutical or supplement you are taking. Maybe it's because of a vaccine injury. Maybe it's because of exposure to heavy metals in dental fillings or contaminated fish. Maybe it's because of aluminium toxicity. Maybe it's because of the chemicals in cosmetics, perfumes, and personal care products. Maybe it's from exposure to hand sanitizers, harsh cleaners, and synthetic wipes, or chemicals in dry cleaned clothing and your furniture. Maybe it's because your bedding and living spaces are unhygienic. Maybe it's because you hate your job and are seeking a way out. Maybe it's because you feel abandoned and scared. Maybe it's because you are in an unhappy or toxic relationship. Maybe it's because you feel lonely. Maybe it's because you resent something that happened to you. Maybe it's because your life lacks purpose. Maybe it's because you lost someone you loved. Maybe it's because you are worried about money. Maybe it's because you live in a noisy environment and are assaulted by artificial sounds. Maybe it's because you are immersed in the digital realm and have lost your connection to nature. Maybe it's because of constant exposure to screens and LED lighting. Maybe it's because you are bombarded by electromagnetic fields. Maybe it's because of air pollution. Maybe it's because you are in a state of dangerous toxicity and need to fast. Maybe you don't realize that our bodies are perfectly created and can heal spontaneously. So there we go. The next time someone asks what is making them sick, if it's not a virus, you can check whether they have considered these 40 reasons. By no means are they the only considerations, but it provides an excellent starting point. Thankfully, there is a growing realization that the virus model has nothing to do with health and everything to do with serving vested interests. The next step is to help people take back control of their well-being through the principles of right thinking and right living,